I'm gonna be real. I'm petrified to film this video because I have a whole day ahead of me where I could be relaxing, enjoying myself, reading a book, writing my book, watching booktube, doing something other than filming, and I know that I need to film this video. This is all of the books I have accumulated since living in Japan, and I have them set up into categories. I'm going to try and do this as concise and logically as possible, but if you're not new to my channel, you know me, and you know why I'm scared, because this is going to take forever, and it's going to be a mess, and I'm not going to clean it up. I'm going to start with the books that I've bought myself, then go into thrifts, gifts, and move on forward. I'll have timestamps linked down below. I will also have links to every book in this video if there's one that interests you. It'll be an affiliate link, but it's there, it's for you. Do as you wish. And I'll eventually get to the end of this video where I can open an Illumicrate that just came in today. So I also have my special editions that I will be showing in a haul at the end. I also received a second box today. The partner of this video, Ana Luisa. Ana Luisa is a company I have worked for in the past. I continue working for because they have non-tarnishing jewelry that is incredibly sustainable. I currently have a large swath of Ana Luisa jewelry, so I picked out 2 pieces for myself, ones that I thought I could really wear this winter, and then 1 piece I picked for a friend because I know it's one she has looked at before in the past and said she liked. So when I was given this chance to do another partnership with Ana Luisa, I picked this last one up for her. But first I will show you the May necklace. This is a gold necklace with a green gem in it, and I am a huge fan of green, and I have been a recent fan of gold. Ana Luisa's jewelry has proved to me that I can wear gold. It doesn't affect my skin at all. Figured out I might have a small allergy to gold, which seems on brand that I would be allergic to high class, but with Ana Luisa I seem to be able to do both. The next piece I have is kind of an unusual piece for me, but I really liked it, and I think it's because of where I am with my writing right now. I'm in a kingdom with a lot of reptilian creatures, and I saw this. It's just a cute little snake ring, and I don't know, I loved it. It's very well detailed, little tiny green gems for eyes. In fact that I do have a character with a snake ring, I don't know, I was feeling it. It made sense to me, so I went ahead and got it for myself. The last piece is the gift piece, and I'm really just hoping my friend doesn't watch this video before I can give it to her. I subtly hinted I wanted to give it to her early in case she watched the video, but she's busy, and I'm gonna hope she continues to be busy long enough to not know that I got her the Celeste earring set. This is a moon and star set, and I have been eyeing this for such a long time. I do not have my ears pierced. I really want some of the other celestial pieces that they have in their collection. Ana Luisa has lots of moons and stars and opals and things like that, and those are the ones I gravitate towards most. I'm mad that I can't get these for myself, but I also, I just can't get my ears pierced. I've tried. I went into it thinking I could, and I haven't. So that is my last piece. I do have a discount code that I'll have linked down below, but I also know that there is a massive winter sale going on right now, so they have 35% off on their jewelry, and I'll have that link down below as well, so you can go ahead and catch the sale before it ends. But with partnerships out of the way, I would like to start this video, so let's get started, shall we? Behind this couch is rows upon rows of books. Most of these books are the books I brought with me, and then the other ones are from my first book haul that I did when I got here. I'll link that up above if you'd like to watch it. This first pile is going to be books that I bought personally. I went out of my way to get them, even though I live in Japan, even though it was painful for my wallet and my brain to process the fact that I was going to buy them and have to pay international shipping, because bookstores here, it's really hard to find English books. These are the books that I went feral for and bought because I needed to have a physical copy. So first I have When Women Were Dragons. This is by Kelly Barnhill. Kelly Barnhill is also the author of The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and I really love what Kelly Barnhill does, not just with dragons, but specifically how she writes young girls and coming of age moments with children. When Women Were Dragons is slow and steady. This is not a book to be easily consumed. The Girl Who Drank the Moon is a lot more easily managed and will come up in this list in a later point. But for now, talking about When Women Were Dragons, this book follows a girl in an alternative 1955, there is a sudden occurrence where all of these women transform into dragons, and they fly away, and we're left with the wreckage of empty houses and homes, children without mothers, partners without wives, and the ramifications of these women turning into dragons. I also really appreciated how it tackled gender norms, and that it made it clear that even if they were not assigned women at birth, those women too who needed to transform into dragons became dragons as well. I loved the historical aspects of it. I liked the extra little tidbits we got from the narration of historians. I bought it secondhand and have zero regrets. Of course I bought Babel. Are you kidding me? This book is amazing. I could not stop listening to it. I listened to the entirety of this audiobook and was just horrified that I couldn't pick it up physically. I bought it immediately. I completely lost my mind. I was rereading through certain scenes and reading through it again as I listened, and it was such a good book. It's an immediate classic. It's a masterpiece. It's one of the best books I read this year, and it follows a boy named Robin who actually lost his original name in order to be brought over to a prestigious school and learns how to translate in order to work with this magic system. At first, I didn't understand the magic system until I was seeing it applied. The magic system in this is absolutely phenomenal. It is the loss of translation that is the magic between these words. So if I am trying to say something in Japanese and I use a word in English, something is always going to be lost there. A nuanced meaning of culture is lost, and in that gap in between is what is created with these magic gold like bricks is how I imagined them. It's a dark academia book, but it's also just so much more, and it was absolutely powerful. There was no way I wasn't going to have this physically on my shelves, and here it is, there it will stay. Next, I had a moment of dumb, not because Hellbent is dumb. I read Ninth House and really enjoyed it, but the time I was reading it was kind of a dark period of time for me, and I felt like it was a little bit tainted by that. And when this book came out and I saw its cover and I remembered some of the aspects of Ninth House that I really wanted to reread, I just bought Hellbent immediately. I don't even know what came over me. I just bought this book and then remembered I don't have Ninth House anymore, so I just don't own Ninth House, but have Hellbent. Another book I went absolutely feral for was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabriel Zevin. This book is definitely more than two friends making a video game, but I really don't want you to go in with too much more except for understanding that it's what makes best friends best friends. It's a bond and what it takes to break it and where people can end up, and I just absolutely loved it. It was beautiful and had fun video game aspects and looked at the individuals as well. It just created a nuance within friendship that I needed to own it, and it's so pretty. It does the little reflection bit that I'm a sucker for. Rouge is a new buy for me. I really just loved this cover, and I'm very intrigued to read another Mona Awad book. This is her most recent one. It has to do with the beauty industry, and I'm just expecting it to be wild and weird. I want it to be a bit of a fever dream. That's what I enjoyed out of Bunny by Mona Awad, and I haven't read this book yet, but I'm excited for it. I felt like when I was reading Bunny, I wanted to annotate as I went, and I couldn't, so in preparation for the possibility that this is as good or as interesting as Bunny, I wanted to have it physically. This is another bit of a dumb. I bought this thinking that I was going to read it for the first time, and I read this book. This is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I read this one. I'm on the second one. Thought I hadn't read the first, and now I'm like, well, maybe I don't like you as much because I don't remember you as well as I thought I did. And I got it while I was in Ireland, so it wasn't like as much of money lost. I was already there. I was already book shopping. But it was a purchase for me where I didn't have buyer's remorse because I do want to eventually own the entire series, but I don't think I'll be reading it anytime soon. So Daughter of Smoke and Bone has a character who is working for, I think, like a demon, and she is collecting teeth. And there's like an alternative world. Man, I don't remember anything else. Well, I guess I'm glad that I have this because I'll be reading it for what will feel like the first time. Let me know if you enjoyed Daughter of Smoke and Bone because Strange the Dreamer is my absolute favorite, and I don't know what's happening between me and this book, but there is a disconnect. But I have it, so maybe that can be quelled. Bunny! After I read Bunny, I really wanted to read Bunny again. I felt like I really was in a fever dream listening to this, and then I wanted to see what I would feel when I read it physically. So I haven't yet, but I plan on doing so. Of course, the tabs will be pink, and I'm very much so looking forward to it. A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher is one I just finished, and I'm so glad that I have it and read it. I really love how easily consumable and little these books T. Kingfisher has been putting out are. I am thinking that I eventually will own all of T. Kingfisher's books. I know that that sounds unrealistic right now because she actually has a huge backlist, but I've been working on it and I'm feeling really good about it so far. It was very fun. I liked some of the formatting. The font is really tiny, but it still felt bite-sized and it still felt perfect, and it was a 5-star read. So We Free the Stars. This is a fantastic book and the sequel to We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal. I love Hafsa Faizal's duology. This is one of my favorite duologies of all time because they can go so wrong so quickly. So many times I feel like they should have either been a standalone or a trilogy. And Hafsa Faizal just has a way to my heart. I don't know exactly how to pinpoint what I loved about We Free the Stars and We Hunt the Flame, but I wanted the full set, and I ordered the second book to match the first, and it's a paperback that's way shorter. We Hunt the Flame is about a girl pretending to be a boy hunting in the woods, and she is hired to do a job on an island to bring magic back to the world of Arauia. There's also a denounced prince who's working as an assassin who is sent to kill anyone that's trying to bring back magic. So cue knife to throat romance. It was just done so well. It almost felt like old fantasy, and I loved it. I'm a little bummed that this is the wrong edition. I did order a hardback and it did come as a paperback, but I get it. Book Depository was closing down and they gave me their scraps and I took it gladly. Such Sharp Teeth was such a good time. Such Sharp Teeth is about a girl who turns into a werewolf and her just trying to actually live her daily life while also having this huge issue of turning into a monster once a full moon. There's a metaphor with menstrual cycles and family dynamics that just hit right in my heart. I also strongly believe that this main character is an Aquarius. I would need Rachel Harrison to message me personally and tell me that it's something different. Otherwise, I believe as an Aquarius character, and that's my headcanon that I'm sticking with. I have not read this book yet. Everything about this book appeals to me. This is Dragonfall by R.L. Lammerlaum. The cover appeals to me. The fact that there's dragons in it appeals to me. The fact that it's queer appeals to me. Everything about this sounds amazing. Long ago, humans betrayed dragons, stealing their magic and banishing them to a dying world. Centuries later, their descendants worship dragons as gods, but the gods remember and they do not forgive. It has thieves, queer representation, dragons. If you have read this book, tell me what you think. I'm a huge dragon book lover, and I have several of my videos dedicated to dragons, but I feel like I've gotten a bit behind in that aspect. So if you are a dragon lover, let me know what you thought of this book, or if you plan on picking it up. I'll probably pick it up early 2024, and that's where I'm gonna leave it for now. Yeah, I definitely bought Gideon, Harrow, and Nona the Ninth. These books have me in the tightest chokehold. I honestly would do insane things for these books. Uncomfortable things I won't say on the internet. I love these. They feel very important to me. When I hold them close, I feel better inside. I will always remember reading Gideon the Ninth and just feeling like I was being thrust into something I didn't quite understand and was along for the ride, and then being immediately gaslit by Harrow and loving it. I think that I might have a toxic relationship with these books, but I really don't care. I'm in love with them, and I'm just going to keep on living this life of fear and confusion. I began picking up Nona, and then I realized I had too many things going on in this last month that it just felt dangerous. You need to read these books with full concentration, or you're gonna miss things. They're gonna fly right over your head. They need full concentration. I tabbed Harrow and need to retab Gideon, but I'm going to wait until I finish Nona, and then when Electo is announced, I want to do a reread of the entire series, and I kind of want to do it with all of you. But we'll see. I don't know yet. I might be a follower. I might be a leader. I don't think I could spoil this book for you. I could tell you some of the major plot points, and I think they just wouldn't even make sense until you got through the book anyway, but I'll not test the theory, and I'll just set it down and get the next set. This next set of books, I'm not gonna lie, they're a little sad. These are my thrifted Japan books. These are books I found in Japan They're a little rough around the edges. Some of them, I couldn't tell you anything about them. I was just so desperate for books that I bought them. Some of these, that's not the case. Some of these I just got lucky, or there were some people online, or people moving away because people don't always stay in Japan. We have contracts, and when our contract is up, many of us go. I plan on staying, many of us go. Probably one of the best finds I've gotten here is The Martian by Andy Weir. I had a copy of this book. I left it behind. My partner really liked the movie, so I gave him this copy when I found it in a bookstore in which I bought 3 or 4 more of these books. It was worth it because he absolutely loves Andy Weir now, and I'm really excited to have something to talk about, and that's Mark Watney, which I could talk about all day. The Martian is a botanist who gets stuck on Mars and has to survive. There's a really great movie adaptation, but of course the book does it more justice. And it's a lot of fun. Then we have Artemis by Andy Weir. I have not read this one yet. I bought this one because my partner loved Martian so much. He didn't like it as much as The Martian or Hail Mary, which he gave 5 out of 5 stars. Artemis is about a lunar colony, and there are rich people and heroes that don't want to be heroes. I don't know much more, and my partner did tell me not to go into it with a lot of understanding, to just let it happen. He is a just let it happen reader, so I am going to just trust his words on that and not know more about Artemis. But Project Hail Mary is about as high stakes as it gets. There is a person named Ryland Grace, who is a sole survivor on a desperate last chance mission, and if he fails, humanity and Earth itself will perish. He said that this is his favorite out of the 3, and I cannot wait to read it, but I haven't read it yet. It's a little rough around the edges, but it's well loved. Then, this book is so sad. I really liked Name of the Wind. I wanted to read Wise Man's Fear. I really wanted a nice hardcover special edition. I got this instead. It's fine. It's very small and very fat. And you know what? That's fine. It was thrifted. Name of the Wind follows a man named Cloth on a bit of a quest. He is learning magic and he goes to an academy, and it's kind of just his life told in the chronicalization of him in the future talking in a tavern, and he's just explaining his life as he remembers it. He can be somewhat of an unreliable narrator at times. Other times he's unlikable and arrogant. He's just a very well-rounded character, and he's honestly interesting to read. I don't think the women are as interesting to read in these books. I did know that going in. Look, I'm beginning to peel off. I need to stop. Overall, I haven't read this book yet. My partner did. He really enjoyed it. I look forward to reading it soon. I've heard so many good things about Educated that I just kind of bought it just because. I don't really know anything about this except for that it's a memoir. It's highly praised, and it's about this person who went through their life without receiving a traditional education or education of any kind, and then they go on to Yale, Harvard. I bet it's Harvard. Oh, it's Cambridge. They go to an Ivy League school after not being educated, and it's their life, and I've heard that it's really powerful, and I would very much so like to read it. We're gonna get to some embarrassing books because I don't know what they're about. They were like a yen. These were like 70 cents. A Deniable Death. What is this? A page turner. A masterpiece that will literally leave you breathless. You watch, you wait. The hours slide slowly past. You lie under a merciless sun in a mosquito-infested marsh. That sounds horrible. You can't move. Is this written in second person? No. Okay. It's written in what looks like third person. When readers get to the nail-biting climax, they may wonder why they should bother with any other thriller writer. It says $20, and it was for somebody somewhere, not me. It was about 60 cents. This is A Gentleman in Moscow, which was just loosely something I remembered hearing before. I went, people have read that before. I don't know. It's a look at this man's life, and he looks like he might be in trouble and stuck in a hotel. I'm sorry. Gatefather. If any of you have read any of these books and they're actually good, just let me know. They just don't appeal to me personally. This is like the first time I'm looking at them with any sort of sense. Ooh, at least it's magic. Danny North is the first gate mage to be born on Earth in nearly 2,000 years, or at least the first to survive to claim his power. Okay. Well, that might be interesting. I really hate this cover. It has just like the flattest image of someone just kind of sitting there with their arms up, and then like a stock image of a castle. I have the sequel in case it's good, and it's in hardback. You will have to let me know. Next, these are books gifted to us. It's the smallest pile out of them. First, Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. My partner was super into vampires for a hot second, and he got that far into it before DNFing it. I don't know what's going on in the DNF. Oh, a naked woman. So he DNF'd it on the naked woman. So that says something, doesn't it? I don't know how good this book is. I think it was actually really popular on BookTube while I was on hiatus, but let me know if you have different opinions about that, or an opinion about that at all, because I'm pretty opinionless when it comes to J. Kristoff. Then we have This Is How You Lose the Time War. My friend didn't like this. Score! I freaking loved this. This was a 5-star, fantastic book. It's a sci-fi, but it's written through letters of these two women on opposite sides. They're like spies or agents, and they're trying to dislodge each other's timelines, and you just see such a subtle change throughout the storyline, and it's just so good. It's just a very well written book. I felt like I was in here for a very long time, but it's so short. Yeah, this is it. It's a paperback. It's fantastic. Next, Nevernight, also by J. Kristoff. I actually started a long time ago, but it has one of my content warnings, and I just immediately put it down. I don't do well with hangings whatsoever, and this one had a really bad one, so I have heard really good things about Nevernight. I've also heard that the character is very young and is quite sexualized. Let me know if you think this one is worth keeping. I don't know quite what I would do with it, and I don't think I would unhaul this to my school library. Just taking opinions. Then my friend tried and just, loved herself and didn't continue this. This is House of Leaves, a book I had no intention of reading, but I might take on the challenge. It looks insane. Also, I cannot for the life of me, I have read the synopsis, I've tried to understand. I don't know what this book is about. The back says, funny, moving, sexy, beautiful, an elaborate engagement with the shape and meaning of narrative. A rollicking psycho-nest oddity. House of Leaves jumps and skips and plays with genre-wrecking abandon, postmodern panache, and an obsessively imaginative scope. I don't think you're supposed to know. I think you're just supposed to either enjoy it or not, and if you don't enjoy it, I don't think they care. I, honest to God, do not think they care. I might enjoy it. I might love it. The towers, they're getting towery. The largest stack, because my grandma loves me, I made a video 2 years ago now saying I was going to have all my books sent to me. I thought that that meant that I was going to have 20 to 30 books per season sent to my apartment. I didn't understand how much money that would be and how much of that money I would not have. My books have been laying dormant in my grandmother's basement, and she came to visit me recently, and she brought over 50 books. She loaded her suitcases, overbearingly large suitcases, took them on a plane, took them on a Shinkansen, brought them to my small countryside house, and gave me over 50 of my books back. When I say that I sobbed, I sobbed. I cried. I'm literally tearing up just thinking about it, because she brought me books that I had missed so deeply, and I'm just so grateful and so thankful. My grandma is an absolute freaking peach. She just went above and beyond to get these to me, and it really does mean the world. So I'm gonna go through all of those books. These are books you may have seen on my channel before if you're a veteran, but otherwise it's been over 2 years since I've looked at these books, talked about these books, and I'm so glad to have them back. And these are books that my grandma put sweat, blood, and tears into getting to me, so we're gonna look at these books. No, wait, there's more. Oh my god. Just thinking of that little lady carrying all of these across the world. These are so heavy, and there's so many of them. I don't even know where to put all of these. Let's go ahead and start with the entire collection of Saga. We are missing, I think, 10, because 10 is the newest one. I didn't have 10. I didn't buy 10. She couldn't bring me 10 because she didn't know 10 existed, and that's okay, Grandma. Saga is a kind of Romeo and Juliet set in space, but it is so graphic, violent, and heart-wrenching. There's so much good humor in this. There's a lying cat that can tell when people are lying. This couple who are trying to flee from their individual planets because they created this baby together, but there's an ongoing war in which this baby is not allowed to exist. So through love, determination, and brute strength, they go on this adventure, and it wrecked me. They're next level. If you haven't picked up the Saga series, I highly recommend it. Circe by Madeline Miller. This is the Odyssey told from Circe's perspective. She's on an island pretty much the entire time. This is the witchy vibes I look for. It's a natural type of magic that I just feel like isn't sensationalized, and a lot of people don't care for Circe because it's slow, because the magic feels so natural, and to that I say that's exactly why I love it. I mean, to be able to write an entire story of the Odyssey while just chilling on an island and everything else is happening, I don't know, it's good stuff. The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. This was my first Elizabeth Acevedo book, and it is so powerful. Elizabeth Acevedo is an absolutely phenomenal writer, but this is a story of a girl who writes poetry, and the entire story is told in prose. It goes through the anger, an oppression she feels from her family and her mother, how she's trying to let an artistic angst out, and it's just so well done. Usually it takes 3 or 4 books for me to be like, yeah, you're a favorite. But I had only read one of hers, and I was like, Elizabeth Acevedo is one of my favorite authors. I was read Juniper and Wise Child by Monica Furlong when I was very little, and they are incredibly important and special to me. They are part of what kind of shaped how I move in the world as far as witchcraft is involved. Juniper is actually where I got my nickname when I was younger. It came from this character and me loving her so much and identifying with her so deeply. Even when I'm talking like 3, 4, 5 years old, this woman who takes in a child who has been abandoned by her family, no one in the village wants her, she goes ahead and although she is labeled a witch and is kind of an outcast in the village, she takes on this child and raises her to her best ability, and something in these books continues to strike me. If I'm feeling less of like myself or like I need to recenter, I read these books. These were the books I started sobbing. My grandma had like this gigantic stack of books and I picked these 2 off the top and was just undone. I adore these. In that same vein, we also have Coleman, which just continues on the story. So all 3 of these books together, technically a trilogy. If you want to read them in chronological order, you'd read Juniper first, Wise Child second, and Wise Child sequel is Coleman. But I think the original print order was Wise Child and then Juniper and then Coleman. So it's up to you. I am a huge Arthurian Legends fan. I can go pretty deep, and I almost made it my major in college. I wanted a focus in sociology and child and family studies, and then I saw Arthurian legends and history as one of the possible majors I could have, and I almost switched my entire major out of just fandom alone, literally just because I wanted to have an extensive education on Arthurian legend. But some of my favorites, my go-tos, are not following the major plot of the story. So we have Queen of Camelot. This is one of my all-time favorites. I have read this over 12 times. There's nothing I can pinpoint as being especially special about it, except for that it goes through Guinevere's entire life and gives her an actual story apart from Arthur. And it still has the romance and the love triangle that is Lancelot and Arthur, but it puts her at the center instead of like a plot point. I'm glad that I have it back. Growing up, I did read The Mists of Avalon, Forest House, Priest of Avalon, and Lady Avalon. These are following through like the histories of Arthurian legend from differing perspectives. This one is the major one that most people know of, and it's following Morgan Le Fay, Arthur's half-sister. There's lots of pagan aspects to this that I really appreciated when I was younger, and it was harder to find representation of that kind. I mean, it still is. It's different now. It was really important for me growing up. I'm not able to actually look at it from an objective lens, but I do really, really think that they are beautiful books. They are beloved by many. The author herself, I found out recently, was a monster, but she's also dead. So take out of that what you want and look into it with care and protecting yourself, because it does have child grooming and molestation involved. Be wary. She threw this one in there because she knows I love Pokemon, and I just think that's so cute. Like, my grandma looked at over 400 books and went, yeah, this one. It's all the different Pokemon, but it's like the fan art conceptions of them. There's some like realistic depictions of them. Oh my god, this was horrifying. Actually upset by that image. It's cute, I got it. I have 9 minutes left on my camera. This is Sakuran by Moyoko Ano. This takes place in the Edo period, a woman who's stuck in a brothel and constantly trying to survive as well as escape. There are some colored images and black and white. I'm being very delicate with it though. This is actually very hard to find physically, and I was very excited when I got an edition of this. It's interesting and compelling, and I would love to reread it soon. I tabbed it when I originally read it, which is not something I usually do with manga. I would recommend it, but I do need a reread of it to give a better synopsis than what I'm giving it currently. These are such fun books. We have Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen. This follows Trisha Levenseller's most lovable character in my opinion. It follows Alosa, and she is tasked by her father to go and steal something or do something, and she's kind of bad, but she's also a little good. And then there's another person that also is trying to do the bad thing, but they're opposing, and then I think there's a little bit of love in it. I read these in a day. both of these in the same day. I read them over 4 years ago, but it is getting a sequel. Yeah, the new book is coming out, so it might be time to reread these and also give a better synopsis. The Girl Who Drank the Moon. This is the same author as When Women Were Dragons, the first book I talked about in this video, in case you skipped around or forgot. This is what I would consider a cozy fantasy. It feels like a cozy book you'd read by a fire, and so if you are near fire, don't put this book in there, but you could read this book next to it, maybe with a blanket, lavender, Earl Grey tea. I don't know. It sounds good to me. I should do that. But in case I don't get a chance to, you should do that. Daughters of Henri. I remember really liking this book. I can't wait to reread it and see if I still like it. It wasn't like phenomenal groundbreaking. It was just something I wanted to continue. And I think it's a duology, so I'd love to give it a chance. I believe that it follows two sisters. One is raised in a palace, one is raised in a village. They're separated, but they both hold a similar magic, and when they come together, they become a powerful being. I don't fully remember if that's even a spoiler or not. I just know that, like, I mean, they look like powerful beings, do they not? I think that I remember them also having very distinct voices despite being twins, which is apparently something I need to work on because I wrote twins in my book and people can't tell them apart. The Sisters of the Winterwood. Fantastic Jewish folklore. I really loved this story. It's a standalone book. I don't remember as much of its actual plot points, but I'd love to read it again. There are many types of love. You already have me. I mean, you have me because I read it before. In a remote village surrounded by vast forests. Oh yeah, the forest was good. On the border of Moldova and Ukraine, sisters Liba and Leia have been raised on the honeyed scent of their mommy's babka and the low rumble of their tati's prayers. But when a troop of mysterious men arrive, Leia falls under their spell, despite her mother's warnings to be wary of strangers, and this is not the only danger lurking in the woods. I need to reread this. That sounded so good to me. I remember giving it 5 stars, and I remember loving it. It must have been so long ago. Sisters of the Winterwood, a perfect winter read. I do remember putting it in one of my winter recommendation videos and wholeheartedly meaning it. So if this sounded good to you, this is a good time to read it. I remember it being a very wintry book, and it does say Winterwood on it, so I don't think that that's a completely unfounded statement. I have 3 minutes left on my battery, so I'm just gonna leave on this one, and then I'll be right back. Sadie by Courtney Summers. Sadie was one of the first books I read on audio that was like podcast format, and I feel like after I read this, I started seeing lots of it. I'm not saying Sadie led to more podcast formatted books. I know Radio Silence, I think, came out before that, but this book really gripped me, and part of it was the format I read it in. It has it kind of laid out, almost like a script, but the audiobook along with it, I don't recommend just reading this physically. If you are able to get your hands on a copy of the audiobook of it, I think that they work great in tandem. But Sadie follows a girl whose sister goes missing, and it's her going after the person that she knows took her sister from her. And it ripped me apart. As someone with a sibling, I could only root for Sadie, and I really didn't care what happened to anyone else along the way. It had a feral energy to it that I just think still holds up to me as being like something, if I read this again, I would go right back into that headspace. It was a really good book, and I'm glad that I have it, but I won't be reading it anytime soon. 1 minute left. I'm gonna go ahead and delete some things off my camera. I'll be right back. Maybe I'll do some readjusting, but I don't know. It's kind of like a Merlin study vibe. I'm wasting the minute I have. Female of the Species. I read this a long time ago, and I remember it being one of the first books I read where I went, holy cow, you can write books about that? This follows a girl named Alex Craft, and it says Alex Craft knows how to kill someone, and she doesn't feel bad about it. 3 years ago, when her older sister, Anna, was murdered and the killer walked free, Alex uncaged the language she knows best, the language of violence. This is an older book that I feel like, I'm not on Book Talk, but if anyone wants to toss this up there, I believe it could have another run. And I just felt really good reading this, for probably reasons that were not good. But yeah, I really am glad that I have this book back. I can see me rereading this again soon. I still remember a lot of the major plot points, but I do remember there were things that surprised me, and I don't remember what those things were. Beartown absolutely wrecked me. This book is sad. This book is miserable. It's a good book to read during winter if you don't have seasonal depression. It's dreary. It's dealing with the topics of sexual assault, silence, and living in a small winter town focused more on sports than its people. I felt an unwanted nostalgia while reading this book. Beartown is a town that felt very similar to a town I was raised in Alaska, and I just A lot of the culture surrounding it was something I was very familiar with and didn't want to relive, but I relived it anyway. I was going to try and tab it. I only put 3 tabs, and there were points where I was just like openly sobbing. Glad I have that book back. I'll be letting someone else give it a shot. This next book is The Wolf in the Whale. This is by Jordana Max Brodsky. I don't know how much I want to say about this on the internet. I'll just say that this allowed me to explore my gender in a way I'd never actually thought of before, and it led to a lot of revelations for me that allowed me to bypass maybe some troubling aspects of this book, as it does draw from indigenous cultures and the idea of having 2 different parts of you and those coexisting. I'll read the synopsis and then leave it at that. There is a very old story, rarely told, of a wolf that runs into the ocean and becomes a whale. Born with the soul of a hunter and the spirit of a wolf, Oma is destined to follow in her grandfather's footsteps, evoking the spirit of the land, sea, and sky to protect her people. But the gods have stopped listening, and Omat's family is starving. Alone on the edge of the world, hope is all they have left. Desperate to save them, Omat journeys across the icy waste, fighting for survival with every step. When she meets a Viking warrior and his strange new gods, they set in motion a conflict that could shatter the world or save it. I don't know enough about any of the controversy that was at one point surrounding this book. I haven't seen anything for it since really looking into the author and came across her, I suppose, defending herself on a subject I didn't know enough about. You won't see me talking about it often because I don't want the possibility of causing damage to cultures, but I also don't know if that's what this book does or not. I haven't done enough research on it, but it was a book hauled and it was important to me and discovering things about myself. So on a personal note, I'm very happy that I have this book back in my life. These were 2 special editions that I bought when I was just in the booktube mode. I was at the peak of my booktube. I'm a little bit more lax now, but there was like 2 videos a week. I was very involved, community-based in a lot of things. I was in the town square of book Twitter, and I really thought I needed these. I'm really glad I have them now because they're gorgeous and beautiful. I wonder if I would have bought these now. These are 2 Leigh Bardugo special edition books. One is The Lives of Saints. It's an absolutely gorgeous book of short stories of saints. Full illustration, colorful pages. I read through it, enjoyed it a lot. I think that these are just really beautiful stories on their own. I do really love Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, and I am in love with Nikolai, but somehow stalwartly don't remain a fan of the Grishaverse. I don't know. There's something about him that just doesn't appeal to me in like the deep sense, but in the just surface level fantastical sense, I was stoked. The Language of Thorns, kind of similar vein. Short stories from the world. Beautiful, colorful illustrations. Redemptor. This is the sequel to Raybear, which I took all the way to Japan in the first place because I loved Raybear so much. I still love Raybear so much. I got this book. I hadn't read it yet. It was a last minute haul that didn't make it into my suitcase. Read it and it was okay. Redemptor was a very well-written story that I think lost its plot and its characters. But Raybear itself is a story of a girl who is being raised in isolation in order to join a council that supports the emperor. Unfortunately, she's also half Jinn and has been tasked with killing said emperor once she loves him and has attained his trust. I loved the friendship dynamics within Raybear, and Redemptor just felt like it didn't do the first book justice, if justice could even be done for such a beautiful book like that. I read this book. I think I was in a bad headspace. I think that this book is actually awesome and amazing. I think it's fantastic and hard-hitting, and I think that I'm kind of a loser for not liking it the first time. I will be rereading this book. I don't know why it was a slog for me. Look at it. I just had Japan delayed again. I was going through a lot. I was just not in a happy headspace. My cat was passing, like, actively while I was reading this book, so I just need to give it another shot, and my grandma has given me that chance. So this is The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. The greatest sagas are written in blood. A century has passed since the gods fought and drove themselves to extinction. Now only their bones remain, promising great power to those brave enough to seek them out. As whispers of war echo across the land of Vigrid, fate follows in the footsteps of 3 warriors, a huntress on a dangerous quest, a noble woman pursuing battle fame, and a thrall seeking vengeance among the mercenaries known as the Bloodsworn. Okay, I think I am going to like this book. I think I just need to reconnect with those characters and just give the book a chance. Elizabeth Acevedo, once again, With the Fire on High, is about a single mother who is raising her child, absolutely loves her, wants to study abroad and also have a life, but she is a high school mom and I just thought it was nuances of that. Feeling torn between being yourself and being a mother and still being a child. She is a young mom and she has her own dreams and aspirations, and I loved the magic and the food in this book. It does something different that the Poet X didn't even begin to unravel or look at, so I don't think they're actually comparable as far as topic and what they do. Also, the hardcover has this underneath, and this is just so fun and beautiful. I freaking love this book, and I love the cover. Lovely War. Lovely War was a lovely book. I do think that some of the dialogue and some of the romance were a little cringe when it came to the Greek gods. Aphrodite is telling a series of love stories, and she is trying to make a point when she is caught in the thralls of adultery. And this is the point she makes. It takes place during World War II. I thought it was a really good book, and even though that there were some cringe moments that still stick in my head for some dialogue moments, I think that overall, I'm really glad I have it. It's also a great book to read during, I would say, autumn and winter, so it might be the time to pick it up. I love these books. Don't make me tell you why. I'm so tired of talking. I'm just gonna sit here and not talk for a second, and I'll just edit it out. Okay, I'm ready. Let's keep going. First, we have Beast Player, and then the next one is Beast Warrior. Yep. Cool. These covers are beautiful. This world is fantastic. I talk about it in a lot of different videos. Essentially, this book is more of a coming of age, and this is more adult. Though I believe that if you continue this on while you're still not an adult and you loved it, then you can still enjoy this one. You just might not relate to it as much. So I'll just focus on Beast Player so that I don't give away things besides the fact that there is a huge time jump. I won't give away the plot, but I think that that's important going in, or it can be incredibly jarring. Beast Player follows a girl whose mother's job was to raise and tame dragons of sorts, and when her mother is framed for the death of these creatures, our main character has to go on the run and ends up on a bee farm where she lives her life in a place of peace, but then knows that she has to re-enter the world. There's a couple different magical creatures in here that really stand out as being like phenomenal and interesting. For Studio Ghibli lovers, I think you'll really enjoy them. I would put them in that genre of cozy where there's definitely like an epic fantasy happening, but it's the slower parts of the story that really draw you in, and I love these books. Oh, this is not a pile of books. Well, it is. It's a pile I've already done. I get to grab my next set of books, which is my special editions. These are, I'm going to say, all Illumicrate. If I notice one is not Illumicrate, I'll tell you. Otherwise, I'm going to assume they're all Illumicrate, and then we'll end with an Illumicrate unboxing. These are the last of them, and aren't they so pretty? If this fell on me, I think I would legitimately be hurt. These were also brought by my grandma, but I put them in the special editions because they're special. These are the Owlcrate editions of the Crown of Feathers trilogy, in which I have only read the first one. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, and I loved it enough to buy the other 2 books without having read them. Granted, this was in the same era of a heightened booktube-ness, but I think that this is good. I think that I made a good choice here. I think that Crown of Feathers, which follows 2 sisters on opposing sides of a war, has an academy, a rebellion, where our main character is in a world that has phoenix riders that bond with phoenixes. This book was so good. I can't wait for more of it. It was a book that had a lot of queer rep, was just subtly woven in. It's queer normative instead of being queer focused, and I love queer focused books. I really enjoy them, but sometimes I just want to live in a world where it's normal and doesn't need to be spelled out, and that's what this book does really well. People can just exist, and it's so nice sometimes. I have Heart of Flames, which is book 2, and has these sprayed edges. I don't think Owlcrate's been doing sprayed edges for a long time, but this was really before like the printed stenciled edges got big. And then for Wings of Shadow, also has an amazing cover. It has like a deep plum purple. It's turning blue on screen, but I swear it's purple, and is also signed. Not an Owlcrate. This is just a special edition. I don't know where from. I saw it online, and it had a neat little ribbon. It has illustrations. This is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. It follows a girl who is immortal, but part of the immortality deal that she did with a god was that everyone forgets her when she enters after she leaves a room. So people can meet her, but they'll never remember her. She can't write books. She can't imprint herself on history or be known to anyone. And it was so fascinating and so lovely to read. I know it got really popular when it first came out, but I think since then it's kind of quieted down. And I was so excited while I was reading it for my friend who I thought would really enjoy this. So I was almost reading it with the anticipation of her reading it. And as soon as I gave it to her, I felt fine. Colored illustrations. The ribbon is really cool. And then the end pages as well, I think are nice. So overall, Just a very pretty book. This is an Illumicrate. This is my most recent up until recent. This is my most recent up until recent. Somebody help me speak English. This is my most recent before this one that just came in. Okay? Ava Reed, a dangerous author for me because I think I'll pick up anything she writes. This is more of a dark academia book. A Study in Drowning. An architect student named Effie has a favorite author, and this author just passed away, and she has been hired to reconstruct or renovate his house. She's an architect and a reader, and somehow those two things coexist into her building this house and possibly a relationship with this lovely, nerdy looking gentleman on the front. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't read it yet. If you've read it, let me know how you enjoyed it. Also, the stenciled edges on these are really cool. They're digitally printed. Next, The Drowned Wood, also an Illumicrate edition. I hate these edges. I'm just gonna tell you right off the bat. I like this edition, I just don't like these edges. It seems so lazy to me. I would have almost just rather had the light turquoise than like the fake water design. Drowned Woods is a story from Wales. Once upon a time, the kingdom of Wales was rife with magic and conflict. An 18-year-old mare is well acquainted with both. As the last living water diviner, she can manipulate water, a unique elemental power many would kill to possess. For years, Mare has been running from the prince who bound her into his service and forced her— oh my god, this sounds so good. Are you kidding me? This is the book without a sleeve. Foil on the cover, and sorry, there's books everywhere. I don't know if I'm gonna do this justice. What is it? Oh, okay, it's like a ship and a castle and a chick and a dude. Great stuff. I'm very excited for this book. I think this might be a possible 5-star prediction. I don't know. Just the vibes. Wales gets me. There's lots of Arthurian legend in Wales. Yeah, no, I'm intrigued. I'm interested. It's a shame about these edges, though. I've never actually read a Tahara Mafi book, but I've heard interesting things. The Shatter Me series, I think, is probably very different from this. I think that this is supposed to be a high fantasy, and I just found out includes dragons. Clashing empires, forbidden romance, and a long-forgotten queen destined to save her people. This is how you get me. I'm interested in dragons and castles and royals and people. The book is a selling point. It's gorgeous. These are the end pages. Oh, would you look at that? There's also character art. All good stuff. Very excited for it. Wary of the author specifically, just because I'm not sure if what I've heard so far has been a writing style that appeals to me, but if you have read The Woven Kingdom and you know my taste, let me know if I should be picking this up sooner rather than later, because I didn't know there was dragons until recently, and I'm just a sucker for dragons. A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. I read this book. This was one of my promised books. This is a story about a bard who goes back to his village and people on a magical island. While the real world doesn't seem to have magic, this is Fae concentrated magic, and he goes to this island because he's been called back because girls have gone missing, and the bard magic he has, music magic, is supposed to be able to help call the Fae so that they can investigate where the girls have gone. I read this book. I enjoyed several aspects of it. Obviously, it was beautiful writing. Rebecca Ross knows how to do that. The plot kind of dithered a little bit and went places that I didn't care for, and I felt like sometimes she lost the plot and got caught up in just like trying to like rev up the romance, but it was like kind of too late, and I was actually invested in figuring out where the children were, and a lot of the time no one else seemed to really care. Like, they have a full-blown wedding. This was an ill-timed celebration because the girls were still missing. We had not found the children, and people were like, oh, let's take a moment to celebrate. And I'm like, is your daughter dead? Do you know what happened to her? This isn't a book review. This is a book haul. Okay, moving on. Godkiller. Godkiller was one of my top-rated books that I read this year. It follows a woman named Kissin. She kills gods for a living. There was a civil war between gods, and the gods lost. And Kissin is one of the people that helped bring them down. Now she goes and she hunts gods. There are 2 other perspectives in this book. I'm going to just focus on one of them being a girl who has a secret, and that is that she is housing one of the lesser gods, God of White Lies. And she's trying to get the God of White Lies back to a sanctuary or place where he can be safe because the world is no longer safe for him. And she chooses Kissin to take her there. It's just really great, fast-paced, so much fun. The epic battle at the end, really just phenomenal, like 10 out of 10. This was a 5 out of 5 star read for me. This edition is gorgeous. I don't know if my lighting is doing it justice. It's got these dark autumnal tones. These are the sprayed edges, and I just absolutely love them. We have our main characters on the front cover, and they just look amazing. Both the dust jacket and the laminate hardcover are just gorgeous wraparounds. I immediately pre-ordered book 2 as soon as it was available. Foiled end papers as well as it being signed. kind, and I just zero regrets. Not sponsored, would love a sponsorship. The customer service I have received from Illumicrate, because I live overseas, there's lots of things that go wrong, or sometimes I need to skip. They have been phenomenal. Just, yeah, overall, the service has been fantastic, and it feels like a small treat to myself because it is so difficult to get books here that at least I know every once in a while when there's a book I really, really, really want, I can get it in a beautiful edition. There's a couple misses every once in a while. I'll get to him in a second. But for now, this was another one I got where I just kind of took a chance on it. It seemed interesting. It's Zara, and I don't know much about Zara, but she has caught my attention. It says, magic flickers, love flames, chaos reigns. The sprayed edges on this one as well are just beautiful. The inside is like a burnt orange and teal, and then if you take it off, you're given a treat. Like, I don't have many words to say about this. I don't know much about this book. I don't know if I'll enjoy it, but I do know there is a chance I will enjoy it, and if I do, I'm also blessed with a beautiful cover. Yes, it says, magic is forbidden throughout the morning realms. Magicians are called abominations and blamed for the plague of monsters that razed the lands 20 years earlier. Jin Zara already has enough to worry about, appeasing her stepmother's cruel whims, looking after her blind younger sister, and keeping her own magical gifts under control without having to deal with the rumors of monsters re-emerging in the marsh. I haven't really heard much about it, so it might have been a more quiet release, but I'm hoping it's an underrated release and not just a flop. Speaking of flops, here we are. This is The Book of Night by Holly Black. I have no intention of reading this. It's really hard to unhaul books here. I actually have a small stack of books that I'll be donating to my high school library because I think they are books that my students will enjoy. I haven't heard anyone enjoy this. This was one of my earlier Illumicrates when I first got here. I hadn't quite gotten the groove yet of skipping books, and it was Holly Black, so I thought maybe. Then the reviews started coming out. This is not a book I dislike personally. I have just not found anyone that I trust or know tell me that it's good or that I would like it. In fact, they say the opposite. They hate it. If you are not one of those people and you think I'll enjoy this book, by all means try and sell me on it. It's pretty stigmatized for me. It just has regular black sprayed edges. Yeah, it's got foiling. This is the end pages. I've just heard such terrible things. I don't even know what it's about anymore. Oh, let's see. It says, Charlie Hall has never found a lock she couldn't pick. I'm reading this and I just don't care because I know I'm not going to read the book. I'm going to unhaul it. It's for somebody else, and somebody else will either be really lucky and really enjoy it, or think that it's pretty. Next one, very beautiful. Don't know much about it. Absolutely gorgeous edges. I like that they're black, but they have a design on them. I think it's really pretty. It's also signed by the author. I've gotten a lot of hype around this book, and then this is the book without the dust jacket. It manages to do a lot while still being very understated. What is the Jasad era about? 10 years ago, the kingdom of Jasad burned. Its magic was outlawed, its royal family murdered, down to the last child. At least that's what Sylvia wants people to believe. The lost heir of Jasad, Sylvia, never wanted to be found. She can't think about how Nizal's army destroyed her kingdom and continue to hunt its people. Not if she wants to stay alive. But when Aaron, the Nizal heir, tracks a group of Jasadi rebels to her village, staying one step ahead of death gets trickier. I love a good royalty book. I like books with princes, kings, queen, heir, following royalty. I'm a sucker for it. I think that I'll really enjoy this. Wanting to read it sometime soon. Hope is on the horizon. Before we get into the newest one, we have this one. I've read this book. This is Song of Silver Flame Like Night by Amelia Wang Zhao. I'll scoot some books over. I'll give you a good look-see because it's pretty, and I've showed it on my channel before. But for those who just, scour the internet looking for book hauls, this one is one to see. It's very, very pretty on all sides, and would you believe it? It actually gets better. These are the sprayed edges. My battery's gonna die again. I'm going to cry, but I'll do it off camera. And then you remove it, it gets prettier still. Look at this. Are you kidding me? Like, what? Nobody needed to go this hard, but they did. And you know what? The book was a 3-star for me. It was a 3-star. I didn't love it. Mostly, it suffered from info dumping, which is a very hard no for me most of the time. I did make it through this book because there was an academy scene that I liked. There was lots of tropes and moments I enjoyed. The magic system was cool. I just can't be talked down to when it comes to world building and magic and the subtlety and complexities that make up characters. I don't want to be told. And it was a lot of telling, and it was in very large paragraphs. So it was not a win for me, but this book is probably one of the prettiest books I own. But yeah. Okay, all I have to do is open the newest Illumicrate. I don't know what the book is. I don't know what's in the box. I do know that one of the items is Gideon the Ninth themed, and that was enough for me to purchase the full box. Normally, I'd get the book only because I can't. I can't afford it. Gideon does something to me, and it's unhealthy. I just know Gideon's in there, so I'm in there. Let's go get the box, and let's end this video before my camera battery does it for me. It died, but all you missed was the aesthetic, like, nice, satisfying sound of me cutting the box. This is the Illumicrate. It's the end of the video. We're almost there, guys. I mean, many of you are probably already gone, but that's okay. I'm still here, and I'm still excited. All right, here's the box. The theme this month was anti-hero, and I honestly didn't care because I was getting something Gideon the Ninth themed. I don't think it's the mug. I want it to be the mug. It's not the mug. Here is the mug. Rosie Thorns is the artist name, and she does a lot of bookish merchandise, and I just want to see other artists just because I know her so well. I've seen her in so many different book boxes. The point is that she's in a lot. Ooh, okay, this is a sci-fi mug, which is fun. Rise and Fall of Sanctuary Moon. I don't know what this is, but I'll show you in case you know. I'll also look up the spoilers here in a second. To see. I almost saw a spoiler for Gideon the Ninth though. It was very close, so I didn't look. I really like these types of mugs. They are perfect for coffee, and I like the artwork on it. Honestly interests me in the sci-fi, so the power of artwork, whether it be cover art or character art, does definitely grasp my attention. And whatever this book is, maybe it's something I would enjoy. I'll look into it after. And if you already know what it is, do you enjoy it? Do you think I would enjoy it? Moving on. Hanging Ornament, inspired by Nettle and Bone by Taking Fisher. I forgot that there was something Nettle and Bone in here, and Nettle and Bone is another of my favorites. I actually have that book as well, but I lent it to a friend. Ooh, that is shiny. That is in my eye. It's Bone Dog! Okay, this is an ornament, and it's Bone Dog, which is my favorite character in Nettle and Bone. We haven't put our tree up yet, but we will put up a tree, and our tree is minuscule. It's tiny, but this is going on it. It will take up about a quarter of it. Let's go ahead. Bag. It feels like a bag. It probably is a bag. Is it a wallet? Very odd material. It's almost like, it's like those cheap 1990s, like, chairs. I'm having a legitimately hard time getting this out of a bag, this bag out of its bag. But I know it's a bag. I feel it. It feels baggish. All right, we have what looks like castles, moons, stars. It's pretty. I don't think it's like my favorite item, but we do always use reusable bags. This one is not an excellent feeling quality. Like, we've definitely gotten better totes. I won't gravitate towards this bag, but it is very, very large. Okay, which means that, ooh, yes. Which means that these, oh my god, these are good quality. I will get a full sentence out. These are the Gideon the Ninth or Locked Tomb related item. They are bookends. I have bookends. They're trash. They're going in the trash. They don't matter anymore. These are great. These are very high quality. I don't know how to properly show this. It says one flesh, one end on both sides. These are great. I really like these. These are definitely, I think, my favorite item from the box. They were always going to be because they're Gideon the Ninth, but these are also just really nice and high quality and useful. That this has the potential to be second favorite. I just need to know what it's from. I guess after I open the book, I can look at the spoiler card and see what it is. Oh, okay. I just saw the title. And I'm actually really looking forward to this book. So, wow, okay, this is really pretty. What? I'm focusing. I know that this is a book haul that turned into an unboxing, and so I'm going to try and be concise here. This is the book. This is Starling House, which is by Alex E. Harrow. 10,000 Doors of January was the last book I enjoyed by Alex E. Harrow. The lighting is a little bad in here, so I will put a different clip in showing the end pages better. They look amazing. The detail and the quality of these is probably some of the best I've ever seen. And I just showed you a lot of really nice quality end pages, but the saturation, I can see the small feathers on the crows, or the starlings, sorry. You can also kind of tell this is a translucent cover, so if I slip this off, you are left with an entirely new book. which is just gorgeous. And if you turn it on the back, but there's like a graveyard, so it's the house from the back end with a graveyard. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's also the stars are gold foiling, which is really pretty. Holy crap. I mean, this went hard. This is the outer cover, which I'll definitely have on the book just because I thought it looked so pretty with it. Besides the Illuminate series, which is one of my favorite, like, fun YA sci-fi series, I have it on my shelves. I don't think I've ever owned a book with translucent cover like this before. And here are the end pages, which are full art. And I was just saying I really liked full art. These are very nice. It's the same picture on the other side. Usually that's what happens. It's not signed by the author, which I'm surprised. Normally it is signed, but that's okay. I don't have a strong affiliation with Alex E. Harrow. This is a beautiful book. Yeah, no, this is gorgeous. And I'm done with this haul. This book haul is finished. This is over a year's worth of accumulation of books. I did not buy this all at once. I did not even buy this all within this year because technically my grandma brought me books I had already bought previously from home. I'm really glad that I have some of these books back. I'm really glad I have new books to read. If any of them stood out to you, let me know in the comments below. Oh, and before I go, one more shout out to Ana Luisa. I really enjoy their brand. I'd love for you to check them out. Reminder that there is a winter sale going on and that you can find the link below that takes you to the sale, as well as me having a discount code, which will also be down there. I'm going to take a thumbnail with all these books and then possibly put them away. I might not. I might just watch the Gilmore Girls. But whether I do or not, I hope you are enjoying the sun or more stars wherever you are. And until next time, bye!